Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some very interesting news coming out over here now from the holidays where, as you guys know, throughout these past few weeks, we had Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and all of that good stuff. But obviously sometimes it takes a little time to kind of get the information out, kind of see what actually companies sold what, who kind of won this, etc., etc. And with this, we actually have some very interesting news because some of the data is actually slightly more different than what I was expecting. Now, when it comes to all these really big holidays and big sales, you typically do see these companies kind of hit like the top tier amounts of sales, top tier amounts of actual like numbers being sold, and everything in between. But as we kind of go look through a lot of this type of stuff, it just kind of seems like this Black Friday was good. It was still good. It wasn't bad, but it was not necessarily the best it could have been. Now, it's also can kind of be a combination for a lot of different things we're going to talk about throughout this, video, and as well as some kind of somewhat surprising news as well. So make sure you guys are staying tuned as well. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Same with the Xbox or $500 cash. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below in case you guys would like to go and follow. We have the Amazon links down below as well if you guys want to go check that out too. Same with the Target links as well. And let's dive into the video. So, very first and foremost, we've actually had some kind of surprising news, more so based on the overall general availability for all these consoles. And surprisingly, some consoles actually did slightly better than the other ones, and overall, some of the actual marketing employees that we saw with, like, say, Microsoft went a little bit better. So we're talking over here on just the overall rundowns on everything that happened with the Black Friday, everything we're seeing over here for other different regions, and everything in between. So we have an article over here from gamesindustry.biz where it goes and funny enough goes to show that the Nintendo Switch was somehow the best-selling games console during the UK Black Friday, but down year on year, and actually, funny enough, closely followed by the Xbox. But once again, kind of a very thing to note, where's the PlayStation 5 at, and is it actually somehow being just fully beaten in terms of sales? And that's what to dive into for this one. So Nintendo Switch was the best-selling console over Black Friday in the UK, and it can kind of correspond a lot of this over to the American charts as well. A lot of like similar ratios and similar charts, similar stock, etc., etc. So the hybrid machine accounted for 42% of all consoles sold during the week. 42%, which is astronomical, because don't forget this is like a 7-year-old, like, at this point, console, and as well, like, there was a few big games, and I do think Pokemon's been selling very well, which is maybe a big driver for it. Same with holidays, you always have brand new kids being involved for like the Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it may be, and this is insane. So basically, this is due now to the return of the last year's Black Friday Switch bundle, which also did include a Switch Neon machine, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and as well 3 months of a Nintendo Switch Online. So it's kind of trying to more so push like a better box deal. We saw some really good box deals for the Xbox, but funny enough, PlayStation was kind of dry in terms of proper legitimate sales, and they kind of kept their prices kind of high with no kind of changes going on, which is also interesting for an over 2-year-old machine. However, though, they did go and say it's actually a far weaker performance than last Black Friday for Nintendo. The company faced strong competition this year, led by an aggressive offer by Xbox. And this kind of goes ones, we kind of made a video on this maybe a little bit ago, but it seems like Xbox actually, with their price reductions, drove a lot more sales than expected. And once again, this is kind of surprising because the PlayStation's just almost nowhere to be seen. So basically, Microsoft reduced its Xbox Series S machine to under $200, so it also was the same here in America. We were seeing some deals for $200 flat, and $250, then with a $50 gift card, in a few different cases of $250, but also getting things like headsets or controllers as well, which in theory is a pretty good price point. Plus also the Xbox Series S, pretty good console, so doing like 1080, 60 FPS for brand new games, so they want to sell them. And also the platform itself did account for 40% then of all consoles sold during the week. So the PS5 though, which once again, very surprisingly, did receive only some very small discounts, as even that only did account for 18% of all sales for these consoles. And now that's very surprising too, because we're seeing these huge numbers, 42% for the Switch, 40% for the Xbox Series X and S combined. And we have the PlayStation itself, only 18%. And it's kind of almost like a flip-flop over here, where if you've been seeing these past few months, like the past few years, the PlayStation 5 has been essentially flying off the shelves. anyone who had a chance to buy them would go instantly jump on them. And it does kind of seem like demand has been slowly kind of wavering down a little bit, which is kind of good, I guess, at the end of the day, because, well, we want people to be able to walk into stores and buy consoles online or whatever it may be. But just like the comparison is that both the Switch and the Xbox Series X and S have essentially double sold this for, the Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And it's also weird, too, because at least in America, these numbers, I think, were kind of seemingly somewhat similar, where it seemed like people were saying that the Xbox Series X was selling more and did better, and from a lot like search terms and people checking out and all that. Which was based on me doing these videos and overall Twitter reception, YouTube reception, or whatever. It did kind of really seem like more folks still care a little bit more about the PlayStation. Now, maybe I might just be biased from my own community and my all of you guys watching or whatever, but it is very strange to see, mainly because the Xbox has just done good. It's nice to see this, but it's kind of crazy because the consoles PlayStation 5s have been relatively consistently in stock. So the console hardware volumes over Black Friday week are similar to last year, and Switch was number 1, which kind of so basically the same as last year, said GFK boss Dorian Bloch. However, overall Switch volumes are way down over Black Friday 2021, as also both Sony and Microsoft also targeted Black Friday week with their tempting offers. All 3 consoles, though, did go post their biggest week sales of the year so far during the Black Friday period this past few weeks. So that's still good. Every console's been doing phenomenal, and they all had kind of somewhat sorted out their stock issues they've had these past few years. But at the same time, it's just kind of crazy to see how big and how kind of big the difference is between all these consoles. So all 3 consoles I mentioned did post their biggest sales of the week so far, and it kind of shows because we've been seeing the PlayStations in stock, PlayStation Direct drops, God of War Ragnarok drops, all the big retailers had some stocks going on, etc., etc. So overall, they also did include physical games, accessories, and consoles, and then Black Friday 2022 was slightly bigger than it was last year, although only up to 4%, is also the 8th biggest Black Friday out of the 10 that have taken place in the UK. So don't forget, these are UK numbers, but a lot of these are correlated from what we've seen in terms of other data and other releases over here in America. So they go and say, funny enough, the Black Friday, though, in 2020, right after all these consoles came out, was actually somehow the weakest. But maybe they just overly did the stock, and they maybe didn't expect as many bots or as many folks maybe trying to scalp, or maybe just they weren't expecting as much of a big, demand of people want to get these games. So they go and say Black Friday 2013 week somehow remains the biggest and did go and correspond with the PS4 launch, Bloch added. Outside of the Black Friday weeks, the biggest all-time week on record is back in 2020, which was the PS5 launch, and the second week of the Xbox Series X and S, which is intriguing too as well, because they've also had that corresponding of them saying it's the weakest, but also at the same time there's also the launch time. It's kind of weird to explain. So basically, Bloch adds that revenue during Black Friday 2022 was split 41% for consoles, 39% for accessories, which is also quite a bit higher, because I saw a lot of consoles, but I don't really ever see too many folks that are buying, cameras or controllers or pro controllers or, whatever it may be at the end of the day. So it was very interesting to see, and then also 21% then for physical games. So, it makes sense. I just really think those accessory numbers are way really high, which is also one of the smallest share then for software to date. So 81% of all the sales for Black Friday 2022 sales were via online retailers, the second biggest share for online retailers so far, and the biggest online share was during Black Friday 2020, which was also resulted of a countrywide lockdown caused by COVID-19. Over in accessories, VR was once again a star performer, driven by the Meta Quest 2 with Resident Evil 4 bundle. Last week was an all-time number 1 for VR revenue too as well, although we're still waiting for that nice, good PSVR 2. So controllers remained the number 2 gaming accessory, Bloch said. This was driven in particular by Microsoft's controller deals and strong hardware sales for all 3 consoles, which drove controller take-up, and it was the best controller week since Black Friday 2019. So to kind of break down on this one as we wind down the video, it's kind of intriguing to go and see that all these numbers are so rough. The PlayStation did way, way less, very, very, very worse in comparison. And I guess it would kind of maybe be factored in with the lower price points. There's a lot, obviously Christmas is big for kids and families, and you also have big games such as, Pokemon coming out that came out. And then same thing too as well, Microsoft, which maybe Game Pass, the Xbox Series S for a really cheap $200 deal, $100 off, something that's only $300, does go a long way. And the Switch obviously has the Mario Kart bundle, which is doing great with their online deals and all of that. It just kind of makes sense at the end of the day. But like I said, the PlayStation 5, they didn't really have any special deals. They kind of slacked, and then while it has been in stock and people have been available to get it, and God of War has been doing good with other good games coming out, I was very kind of surprised just to see on how kind of poorly it did. 18% when we've kind of been seeing them pushing the huge market share and having multiple millions of bigger sales in comparison from other big game companies is really, really small just at the end of the day. So I kind of want to hear your thoughts on this because Black Friday and Cyber Monday was a little bit different than I was expecting, and I'm kind of surprised that the Xbox did so well. Switch is kind of a given. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. We have the Amazon links down below for all the signups too. We have the Twitter and Twitch if you guys want bonus giveaway entries. And of course as well, just make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on.